What's going on, everyone? We are back with AJ Perram.
Perram, you ass.
I just got a message. How you doing, buddy? How's it going, man?
Oh, good. Just, being on the other side of the camera for a change. I'm usually behind it.
Yep. Well, we had to do our best to break this thing. So, AJ plays drums for us here in in AJ Virtue. In Venom of Virtue. Wow. Anyways, so I wanted to start off all these interviews with the same question, and you might get a few repeat questions, but I got a couple that are just for you. So where are you from, and how'd you grow up?
Well, I was born in Northern Ohio, lived in Northern Ohio for most of my life till I was about 16 or so. Then, when my parents divorced, moved up to Michigan for a few years. After high school, moved back down to Ohio for a few years, and then ended up back in Michigan, where I've lived ever since.
Like a pinball.
A little bit of bouncing back and forth. Lots of different things to do. But, yep, now married with the kids, got the house and all that stuff, so laid down the roots, been around here for going on 20 years, couple more years from now. So
Quite settled in the 989.
A little bit.
Gotcha. Well, so how, what are your hobbies outside of music?
Oh, hobbies outside of music. Well, besides doing all of our producing and editing and recording for our behind-the-scenes stuff and our albums and all that stuff, I actually like to work on cars, work on engines. I built my first engine when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I had a go-kart, blew the motor up, and instead of rebuilding the motor for me, I was shown how to build motors, and then ever since then, I got a bit of the horsepower bug. Had a drag car for a little while, had all kinds of different little fast cars for a little while.
Took Mario Kart way too seriously.
Very.
No, so you did some racing then?
Yep, did a little bit of racing when I lived down in Ohio. Actually, at one point, tried to go be a professional race car driver.
So was it like drag racing or
I actually did a little bit of drag racing and a little bit of some asphalt circle track racing, and then a couple of races on dirt and all that stuff. I didn't do as much dirt racing.
So what's the difference between dirt racing and doing it on the asphalt?
With dirt racing, it's actually kind of more like you've seen drifting in the newer vehicles and all that stuff. Basically, same control style, just on dirt. Because in order to keep your speed, it's more of a power slide through the corner, less of a break and turn,
Got you. So, being from Ohio, what are some differences between Ohio and Michigan that...
For me, the differences between Ohio and Michigan are I came from a tourist-heavy area. I lived very close to Cedar Point. That's the easiest way I try to tell people where I'm from when I grew up in Ohio, because most people are like, oh, where? And I can say Port Clinton. And some people know that because they pass the signs to it on your way to Cedar Point. But it's usually just easier to say Cedar Point because they're like, oh, I've been there. I know you have. Because I've dealt with your ass in traffic at some point in time. I've cussed out so many Michigan plates in my lifetime when I was younger because, of course, tourists, I've been a tourist myself. You're like, oh, look at that. And you're not paying attention where you drive. And then there's a local asshole behind you going, get out of my fucking way!
Every time we go to a show... Fart bubble!
I have to be the driver so people that can't drive get yelled at.
Yeah.
Learn how to fucking drive.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never been to Cedar Point.
If you're into roller coasters, it's a place for you. I'm not a roller coaster person, so it wasn't never my thing.
I love roller coasters, so that would be my jam. I heard they just took Millennium Force out of there or something.
Yeah, it was a maintenance nightmare, and being that it was such a hard launch.
I heard it beat the shit out of people too.
Yeah. Well, 0 to 120 in 3.5 seconds is a lot faster and harder than you think. Most people can't handle that amount of G-force.
It seems like it would snap your neck. Thank you, sir. So you got any tattoos?
No, I'm not a tattoo person. Every time I've ever thought about getting a tattoo or looked at different artwork, I like tattoos. My wife has tattoos. Most of my friends all have tattoos. It just never was a thing for me because usually about the time that I would have the money to spend on a tattoo, there was a piece of music gear that I wanted, or a car part that I wanted, or I'm into video games a little bit too there. So, then there's a video game, or collecting old video games eats up a lot of money. So it's one of those things where I've always funneled my money into other shit because of tattoos just not being something I wanted to spend my money on. So, yep.
So you're quite the video game nerd then, too, huh?
Yeah, I oldest member of the band, 39.
No hating. I mean, I love video games too, but
right. But yeah, being that I've been around the block quite a bit, I've actually played most of the systems under the sun. All the way back to Atari 2600 to the NES. So I grew up watching video games evolve. So they hold a special place for me because of coming from blowing on cartridges to now just downloading everything digitally, or you can play games on any device basically. You can play them on your phone all day long if you want to. So
consoles have evolved so crazy since even I was a kid.
Yep. And I like to collect.
I'll be 25 this year, so.
And I like to collect old video games, so I've got a decent collection of that so far.
That's pretty sweet. So we've done a lot of recording, whether it's in the studio recording album material or shooting promos, podcasts. We do a lot of media type stuff. So you usually hold the reins on a lot of that stuff. You have most of the equipment and whatnot. Have you ever thought about taking media and making that a career? Like actually taking that step in that direction?
In my free time, I do try to market my skills to some of the local folks. Like actually, I try to do commercials for some of the local businesses. I've been trying to work with them. And I've actually done a video for a couple of the realtors around here promoting properties and stuff like that. So I have tried to make media a profession. It's just rough because unless you want to go live in a very large city, it's a little more slim pickings. And then with some of the camera technology, some of it's evolved. Like I have decent equipment. It's not great, but it's not horrible either. But for the next level of being able to do some of the video stuff, the camera technology I need is just something I don't have right now. So I just haven't tried to dive that hard into making it a job. Right. And it's another one of those things where it's a bit of a slim picking situation. So
got you.
But I mean, anybody wants a commercial stuff shot, video work.
AJ's a dude, man. I mean, he's setting it up right now. So, anyways, I've always wanted to ask you that question because I know that you've done a little here and there, but anyways, if you got famous from doing anything other than music, what do you think it'd be?
It would have been driving cars, either racing cars or doing vehicle stunts. Like, of course, nowadays, a lot more stunts are CGI, less practical stunts and all that stuff like that. So
everything's
I never tried to move because I actually took a couple of like stunt driving type classes when I lived in Ohio. I went to a place near Cleveland that was teaching stuff like that. And then at one point I did consider trying to move all the way out to like Hollywood or somewhere goofy where there's a lot of film production going on and trying to be a stunt driver. But I guess it's just one of those things where like you look down the barrel of it and you're like, I got a good job where I'm at, because at the age I was when I thought about doing it, I was a really good job, a lot of money, and it was like, drop all that to maybe get to go drive stunt cars. It's like, nah.
Did you play that video game Stuntman Ignition growing up on the PS2?
I believe I did.
I know I did.
Oh, yeah.
I played the shit out of that game.
Some of my favorite driving games are a little bit more of the goofy ones, like Flat Out or like Destruction Derby or like Wreckfest is one of the newer ones.
Wreckfest is
a crash
fire.
game.
Like it. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, brother?
Well, hopefully doing this, because we launched into this band trying to make something that we both enjoyed and that lots of people would enjoy versus trying to like nail ourselves into some tiny little niche, type of music. Because I've been in a lot of different bands over my life, and a lot of them being like grind death metal and like deathcore and heavy metal and like some thrash and just all this different stuff. And actually for this band, this is my most step back to more of a rock side of things, and I like it more.
Yeah, this is probably the most like chill.
Yes, for me, as far as like
you.
all types of bands I've been in, yes. But I like this more because I want to make something that everyone enjoys, not just a few people enjoy. And not saying that a few people just enjoy metal, because obviously tons of people enjoy metal. There are so many metal bands out there, it's really hard to try to make a mark that really matters. So I want to enjoy the music we make more and have it be less of a grind, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. Like, because if you want to make anything your career, like if you love anything and you're trying to make a career, like the moment you start making money on anything, it's going to feel like a job. But it is what it is, man, if you want to do what you love.
Right.
But you got advice for or anybody, like have you ever gotten a piece of advice?
So it's more of a
stuck with you?
conglomeration of experiences that have just led me to a philosophy of, if it's something outside of your control, something somebody does, something a person is doing, something like that, making that live in your head rent free, make you angry, all that other kind of shit, is expending unnecessary energy on a person that they're going to go on about their day, not giving two shits how you feel. So, I don't know, fuck your feelings, I mean, I guess it'd be the nice umbrella term, so it's like one of those things where I don't let, if you're working with a guy who doesn't do his job and you're sitting there like, oh, I wish Timmy would do his fucking job. Well, while you're being mad about Timmy not doing his job, he don't give a shit, and now you're not doing your job, and now you're angry, now you don't like your job. Fuck it. Fuck it all.
Yeah, fuck Timmy.
Yep, fuck Timmy. Fuck you, Timmy.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Timmy! But yes, I mean, that's just always been my thing, is just, I don't let things that I couldn't control if I tried get under my skin.
Except in traffic.
Well, that's different. Learn how to fucking drive. Learn how to fucking drive!
All right, brother. Well, it's been real. I really enjoyed this one. We'll have to do this again sometime, but there's a ghost in
I
here.
wonder if the mics picked that up. A can just got blown in the wind outside. I wonder if the mics picked that up.
I don't know. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
that was funny. But all right, bro.
All right, man.
It's been real. Take it easy, guys. We'll see ya.